TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israeli Foreign Minister Yair Lapid concludes a first historic two-day visit to the United Arab Emirates and calls upon more countries to join the circle of peace. Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen launched multiple ballistic missiles and UAVs towards Saudi Arabia. German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas insists that a successful revival of the nuclear deal with Iran will contribute to quiet in Yemen. Israel wants peace with all of its neighbors and calls on all countries of the region to recognize the simple fact: the Middle East is its home and it is here to stay. Israeli Foreign Minister Yair Lapid, who concluded a historic two-day visit to the United Arab Emirates today, attended the inauguration ceremonies of Israel's new embassy in Abu Dhabi and consulate in Dubai, during which he proclaimed the momentous occasion to be merely the beginning of the road for the deepening relations between the two countries.
This is an historic moment, and it is a reminder that history is created by people. People who understand history but are willing to change it, people who prefer the future to the past. We are standing here today because we chose peace over war, cooperation over conflict, the good of our children over the bad memories of the past, the right to determine our fate by ourselves. Agreements are signed by leaders, but peace is made by people. What we are doing here today isn't the end of the road, it's the beginning. From here, from this place, we are setting out on the road.
Minister Lapid went on to re-emphasize Jerusalem's desire to extend its relations further as part of the so-called Abraham Accords to all neighboring countries throughout the region.
Israel wants peace with its neighbors, with all its neighbors. We aren't going anywhere. The Middle East is our home, and we are here to stay. So we call on all the countries of the region to recognize that and to come to talk to us. Difficulties will not be overcome by themselves. Hostility won't disappear by itself. People create them, people can make them disappear. People can replace them with friendship, generosity, and the search for the common good.
Well, Foreign Minister Lapid highlighted Israel's aspiration to widen the circle of peace from the United Arab Emirates. The Israeli head of state, President Reuven, made similar remarks in the United States, where he held a series of meetings in New York City with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and subsequently with a number of representatives to the United Nations, with which Israel maintains friendly relations. In remarks to the UN ambassadors, President Rivlin stressed that determining the future is a choice for nations to make.
What lies ahead for us is a choice between war and peace, prosperity and poverty, mistrust and alliance, staying apart and working together. Our choice today, my friends, is between normalcy and constant hostility. We, my friends, we choose normalization. We choose prosperity and collaboration. We choose life and partnership. Even inside Israel, we feel that change.
While Israel's aspired choice is peace, President Rivlin voiced the alarm vis-à-vis the Islamic Republic of Iran, which the Israeli head of state insists has chosen war.
Many states in the Middle East are under the shadow of ongoing Iranian aggression and dangerous activity within the whole region. Israel is not the only country threatened by Iran. the entire Middle East is at risk. The entire world, the Iranian regime is not interested in normalcy. Between peace and war, Tehran made its choice. Tehran chooses death, support terror, and prefers war over peace. So far, Iran has undermined normal life in Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, and Iraq. The current regime in Iran seeks to control the Persian Gulf. And above all, they are focused in eliminating the state of Israel.
President Rivlin further insisted that the election of Ibrahim Raisi as the new president of the Islamic Republic clearly demonstrates the Ayatollah regime's vision and policy. In light of Tehran's malign activities and refusal to change its aggressive foreign policy despite international pressure, President Rivlin further maintained that allowing Iran to keep its nuclear program is plainly irresponsible. Meanwhile, in Washington, Pentagon Press Secretary, retired Rear Admiral John Kirby, provided some details about the attack directed at the U.S. military base earlier this week, which is situated near Syria's northwestern Al-Omar oil field. However, while TV7 corroborated with both intelligence officials in the know and other sources on the ground the responsibility of specific Iranian proxy militias which perpetrated the attack, the Pentagon is seemingly cautious about mentioning specific attribution.
The rocket attacks, so I'm not in a position to get into specifics about the number of rockets, and we're still assessing attribution on this. I mean, I think we're all working under the assumption that they were fired by Iran-backed militias or militia. We don't have specific attribution. And as for damage, there was some structural damage to two buildings that I know of on that compound. And again, you've seen our reporting on this, that there were no U.S. casualties as a result.
Kirby went on to highlight the justification of the U.S. attacks against targets belonging to the 14th Brigade of the Popular Mobilization Forces, namely Kataib Said al-Shuhada, which repeatedly attacked U.S. installations in Iraq over the past several months.
These strikes were designed to get specifically at the kinds of threats that were coming at our people, particularly from UAVs. And it was directly tied to the kinds of attacks we've been seeing.
While the United States is subject to increased attacks by Iranian-backed groups in Iraq, Saudi Arabia has once again come under a combined ballistic missile and UAV fire, which emanated from the kingdom's southern neighbor Yemen over the past weekend. Subsequently, spokesman for the Iranian-backed Houthi militia Yahya Sariyah confirmed his organization's responsibility for the strike, writing on his Twitter account that the attack targeted sensitive military sites in Najran, Abha, and Khamis Mushit with 5 ballistic missiles and 5 drones. This cross-border attack coincides with additional bombings of Yemen's Sahin al-Jin camp and a 3rd military zone camp with the Badr-1 ballistic missiles that are situated near Yemen's government-controlled city of Marib, which the Iranian-backed Houthis are fighting to conquer. Turning to the German capital Berlin, where Yemen's Foreign Minister Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak insisted that while the Saudi-backed Yemeni government of President Abd Rabbu Mansour Hadi is making every effort to realize a ceasefire with its Houthi adversaries, the Iranian-backed militants have rejected any offer for dialogue and are seemingly determined to conquer Yemen by force. Therefore, bin Mubarak asserted, the continued blockade of cities and towns under Houthi control are justified.
بناء على الوقائع الأرض والحقائق الواضحة المتعلقة بعرقلة ميليشيا الحوثي لعملية السلام وإحباطها للجهود الدولية لإنهاء الحرب ورفضها للمبادرات الأممية والإقليمية والتسبب في تفاقم الأزمة الإنسانية من خلال الاستمرار في حصار المدن وانتهاك وقف إطلاق النار في الحديدة واستمرار العدوان على مارب وارتفاع وتيرة استهداف الأعيان المدنية والمناطق السكنية ومخيمات النازحين بالصواريخ البالستية، والتي خلفت إلى الآن مئات القتلى والجرحى من المدنيين والنازحين.
German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas, for his part, highlighted the quickly deteriorating humanitarian catastrophe in Yemen in light of the Houthi advance on the government-controlled Marib governorate.
Wir werden auch über die anhaltende Houthi-Offensive in der Region Marib sprechen, die wir mit immer größerer Sorge betrachten. Tausende Familien werden durch die Kampfhandlungen zum wiederholten Mal vertrieben und eine vernünftige Versorgung der Binnenvertriebenen kann kaum noch gewährleistet werden. Umso dringender braucht es eine Waffenruhe, um auch humanitäre Hilfe zu ermöglichen.
And while the Houthis are fully backed by the Islamic Republic of Iran by means of weapons and finance, Foreign Minister Maas insisted that a revival of the 2015 nuclear deal with Tehran, which will provide the Ayatollah regime with significant funds, would somehow contribute to stability in Yemen. Thank you for watching us. As part of TV7 Israel's prayer initiative, I would like to encourage you today to join the team and me here in Jerusalem to lift up Ukraine in prayer for its salvation and peace, alongside prayers for our persecuted brothers and sisters around the world, in addition to our ongoing prayers, of course, for the peace of Jerusalem and the salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you an Erev Tov U'Mevorach, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.